Alright, this video is going to be going over basically my chart setting, what exactly I have on my TradingView, just so that you guys know I guess how my app is set up, I guess. So we're going to start with just the basic symbol. For the colorway, it's not that important, but I like this colorway. It's totally up to you. This is all preference. So this is the color I use. This is the color code right here, color code there, and then for these it's just black at 100%, black 100%, black 100%. I have electronic trading hours on just because we're trading futures and we need all the data we can. I do this adjust for contract change. I'm not exactly sure how that affects anything, but I just have that checked. Status line, I have logo, title, symbol, and name, volume, titles, values, scales and lines. These are the settings you can just copy. Not really gonna go into depth about this. This is just all preference. Canvas solid. This is the color code, same as the up close candle. Crosshairs 25%. Watermark hidden. Text 12. Navigation right here. Trading. Okay, this is where it gets important. I put positions and orders on, reverse buttons on. I don't have execution marks on. I do have this on, which is extended line. Order and alignment on the right, and then I check this. All right. For alerts, this is all on. In events, I put continuous contract switch. All right. There, that's my setting. Other than that, the only two indicators I have on are these ICT kill zones and pivots, just so I can see out. I can see the London and Asia session high. I usually don't have this on during trading. I just have it on when I'm charting for the night before. Usually I won't even mark it if it's not like at a significant swing low. So like for example today, the 18th, there's no point in me marking out this high, right? Because we're just moving up. This high would be more important, you know. So yeah, I just have these settings on. These are the times I use. Oh, hold up. Drawing session limit 20. Time frame limit an hour. The reason why I put an hour though is because first, like, look at the hourly chart, right? This is already like tiny to begin with. If I put it on the 4 hour, it's just gonna be like one fucking candle. So there's no point. So yeah, I just leave it as the 1 hour as the max. Time zone, America, New York, label size small, and then Asia. I know some people have their London and Asia session all different. Sometimes people make this continuous, right? Where there's no gap in the middle. Personally, I just like it how it is like this, which is from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. PST and 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. PST. I don't have New York on just because we're trading New York session anyways. So it's just like having that highlighted thing behind my chart makes it all weird. I don't know if any of these is important, but I have this as my settings. And just pause the video or whatever just to check it if I'm going too fast. And then the ICT higher time frame candles by Fadi. For this candle, I have it on more often, but it's just essentially the 4 hour candle right here. Because for my trading style, I like to follow the direction of the 4 hour candle and whether or not I see that the low has been manipulated. So as example, you can see right here, this 4 hour candle, this low was right here, right? Excuse me. And this high was up here. I just like to see the swing points of the 4 hour candle essentially. It's not that important. You can have it on or off if you want. I personally just like trading in the direction of the 4 hour. The settings I have is right here. I believe you can do any time frame. Like if I put the 3, yeah, there's 1 hour, and then if I put the day, you can see the daily candle right here. But Honestly, that's just too much for me. I just leave it with the 4 hour. And then the body is the same as my my candle colors. Same thing. Padding from current candles 30. Again, these are all just preference. It's whatever, up to you. But yeah, those are only 2 indicators I have, and they're rarely turned on whenever I'm trading in the morning. It's just I have it on like that. Another thing is, look down here. Oh yeah, like ETH is always on. Regular trading hours, we get to see the gaps between like New York closed to open, which I don't like since we're trading futures. So I just put electronic trading hours on. B adjust is just adjust for contract change. Not that significant. You can have it. I don't even know much difference it makes. I just always been having this on for the whole time. For some reason, for the exact reason, I wouldn't be able to tell you. You know, it's not that important. So, and let me see what else in my settings. Oh yeah, the time frames I have on my up here, my favorites, is the 15-second, 30-second. I believe you have to have premium to get this. Never use these time frames anyways. I do have the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I believe if you don't have premium, you don't get the 4-minute, or it was a 3-minute, something like that. You don't get one of these. For my trading style, I think it's important to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just because I look for the highest time frame inversion between the 1 through 5. But you can get away with not having 3 or 4. Let's just say there's an inverse on the 4-minute. I mean, on the 3-minute, but there could be one on the 4-minute. It's still the same thing, right? 3 or 4. But essentially, it's important to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then the 15-minute chart, I don't use for my entries, but I consider the 15-minute one of my higher time frames, right? I get it. It's only 15 minutes. It's not that high time frame. But when I'm looking for key levels, I usually start with the 15-minute, right? I use 15-minute gaps as a point of interest / key level. That's why I consider 15-minute the beginning of my high time frame. So that's why I have 15-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, and 1 day. All these hours, not really necessary. I don't use 30-minute, 45-minute ever. Only time I use the week is if I'm charting for the new week, I mark out the prior week high, prior week low. Yeah, these are the only time frames I use. Let me see. Okay, and then watch list. So I have mine divided up between ES, NQ, and then MES, MNQ. So ES and NQ, or think of it as like the main ticker, okay? It's like the original like ticker, I guess. And then the micros are just a smaller version of that same ticker. Essentially, think of this as like Apple and Microsoft, right? This is also Apple and Microsoft, but think of this as like a smaller derivative of Apple and Microsoft. So the contract sizing is different, right? It's so one contract of ES, think of it as 10 contracts of MES, right? So you have to have trade. If you want you want to make $100 off this move. Let's say you want to make $100 off of this move from here down here. One contract of MES would do that, but if you want to trade MES, you would need 10 contracts to get the same dollar amount. That's the way I see it. I would personally start off with just micros. There's not that much of a difference. Like, don't be a degenerate and use like the higher leverage ones. Just because like your risk amount is just automatically going to be more because the minimum is 1, right? With the micros, at least you can adjust your contract with 1 through however many risk amount, right? So I would just do micro E-mini, and the ticker that you would do would be this. So just search up, let's just say, yeah. So micro E-mini NASDAQ, hold on. So here's the ticker for MNQ, right? The reason why I use, there's like a lot that you can choose from. The reason why I do this 1 exclamation mark is because I believe 1 is the continuous contract. So then like every quarter there's a new contract, or is it every quarter? Yeah, I believe every quarter. 1, 2, 3. No, it's every. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, every quarter. So there's 4 different contracts throughout the year, right? So for right now, I believe we're in June contract, which is M&QM. If you wanted to, you could technically have your chart on one of the contracts, but for me, I just like to have the same ticker all year round. So that's why I choose one, because it changes automatically for me. I don't have to, change the contract every time the month or the quarter ends, right? Because when you trade, you press trade on that chart, and if you have the continuous ticker up, which is the M&Q1 plus, every time it changes that month, it automatically does it for you. Whereas if you do this, you can't trade this contract like you can't trade this anymore, right? Because look at the data, right? You would have to change it every single time the quarter ends. So yeah, that's why I would rather always just do M&Q 1 exclamation mark. Same with MES, right? It's the same thing. MES is they're all different contracts. So there's 4 throughout the year. I believe it starts with Z, H, M, and U. You can see over here Z, H, M, and U, right? This one is just, yeah. Always just use MES 1 exclamation mark. Don't think too much about it. Just use that. So yeah, I'm mainly just switching off between MES and M&Q. That's my watch list. I just have it right there. For now, I wouldn't worry too much about, switching between each ticker. I would stick with one and learn one. So I would learn M&Q. Personally, I just like the way M&Q moves more than MES. So I mainly trade M&Q, which is NASDAQ. Yeah, so this is the NASDAQ. M&Q is the NASDAQ, and ES is the S&P 500. S&P 500, and this is the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is mainly tech stocks. S&P is like consumer cyclicals. We can get more into that, but that's like for a whole like different stocks thing. You don't need to worry about that when you're trading futures. Just know that MES is S&P and M&Q is NASDAQ, right? And we're always trading the NASDAQ, which is the most popular anyways. So that's my watch list. Let me see what else. Okay, drawing tools. This is where it gets pretty not important, but I like to have these drawing tools on, which is the only drawing tools I'll ever use on TradingView. So oh wait, hold on. Excuse me. Your drawing tools are on the left right here, but I have mine right here because I favored them, so I don't have to like click through each time. The first one I have is on the trendline one, and I have trendline starred, and I have horizontal ray starred. And then moving on, I have, for this one, I have fib retracement. You don't need that, not important yet. This one, I don't have anything. Forecasting, I have long position and a short position, right? It's good when you're bracketing your orders in. Price range, drawing tool, brush, path, rectangle. Brush, you don't really need. Path, you don't really need. I would definitely use rectangle because I use rectangle to draw my fair value gaps. Text, you can have text when you write notes. But that's about it. Once you star it, it should pop up on your chart like this. You can move it anywhere you want. How I organize it is from trend line, horizontal ray. It's not really important what order you put it in, but I just like having my long and short at the very end because I don't know, I'm OCD like that, low key. Like I don't want this shit to be right here and then my short, yeah, you get it. Long position, short position, pretty simple. And then you can adjust it. Here, I'll show you. Let's say I want a long here. This is my TP. This is my stop loss, right? And vice versa. If I want a short, I press short right here. I'll bracket it in. My stop loss is set right here. Let's say target down here. That's how I would bracket it. Colors, do whatever you want. It's not that important. Let me see what else. Oh, yes, right here, magnet. I like having the magnet on because when I'm drawing, I don't want to like, if without the magnet, look, without the magnet, I have to like draw this ray. I have to like put it exactly to that high, you know, like I have to zoom in. I put it to exactly to that high like this. Sometimes it's off, you know, but with the magnet, I put weak magnet because strong magnet is too strong. So weak magnet, I can just like drag my cursor, right? And it'll like kind of latch onto that high for me. Look, like I'm not even, yeah, right there. See, my cursor wasn't even on that high, but it snapped onto that high, right? It can be kind of convenient, you know, sometimes. Look, see, it just snaps onto the nearest point. You can even do the body close. This body close, this look. See how it just snaps on? So that's convenient when you're drawing out levels. You don't have to like tediously fucking put it each time, right? So that's that. I believe new drawing. Yeah, new drawing sync and layout. It just basically syncs my drawings every time I switch. What do I have to see? So right now we're on replay data, and I'll show you how to do the executions right now. I believe this is what some of you guys are confused on. Oh yeah, the layout. It's not important what layout you have. I like having MES and MNQ over here. I usually just use MES as a reference. That's why it's smaller, and I'll have this as my main chart, which is what I'm mainly looking at. Let me see. Yeah, if I'm missing something, you guys can just comment or like message me to see what you want me to go over, but that's essentially how I have my chart set up, right? All right, now for the executions, right? When you're executing, I usually market order in. I don't ever use limits. What I mean by that is, since I'm watching price action in real time, and then it's like I'm seeing it actively like play out, I usually just mark it in, which enters you in right away. Whereas if you do a limit, you have to wait for price to reach that limit, and then it'll fill you, right? But based on my trading strategy, I enter in when a candle closes. Therefore, I can't really limit in, because sometimes when it reaches that level, it might not close, right? But it might just fill me anyway. So that's why I always wait for a candle closure and then mark it in. And then we'll go over to this real time, and I'll show you exactly how I set my stop losses and stuff. So, okay, just for example, nothing, no bias or anything. Let's just say pretend we're long. Let's say we want to long, right? Obviously, it requires more context to go long, but let's just say at this given moment, I have a signal go long, and I want to go long. The first thing I'm going to do is, okay, see where my stop loss would potentially be, right? And let's just say my stop loss is down here, right? So before the candle even closes, and before I get like let's just say this is a fair value gap right here that I want to inverse. Price is currently trading down, and I'm anticipating for price to close through this, which is going to be an inverse fair value gap, and then I'll enter, right? Here, let's just do this, for example. I don't know if it closes here, but let's just say this is a bearish fair value gap, and I'm anticipating long. So before I even enter, I'll have my long position drawing right here, and let's just say the entry is not this is going to be moving. I'm going to be moving this as price moves, right? But let's just say my stop loss would be down here. I would set my stop loss down here, and let's say the closest target would be this swing high. Then I'll drag it up here, right? So as I'm drawing this out, this is not like set in stone yet, right? I'm still going to be moving my entry based on what price is doing. So let's just see if we get a long setup. Okay, fine, right here. Let's just imagine that I see this price close through, and let's say I want to set my stop loss down here with a price target up there. So I'll move my drawing like this. So I'm waiting for price to enter here. I'm looking at my stop loss, right? This number right here is the tick number. And let's just say I'm marketing in long. If I'm trading 2 contracts, 2 units of MNQ is going to be a $457 loss, right? Because a tick value is $1, and this is 457 ticks. So if I'm trading 2 contracts, or let's say 1, each tick is worth 0.50, so 50 cents per tick. But let's just say I want to up the risk to, let's say, 2 contracts. Now each tick is $1. So if it's 457 ticks, I can assume that when price reaches my stop loss, I'm going to lose 457. And if I want to drag it, let's say all the way down here, then my stop loss would be 689, right? The easiest way I do it is I just think of it in twos. Whenever it's two contracts, it's the exact number that this is giving me. Sometimes I don't ever do odd numbers just because like it's kind of hard to do the math. Like 1.50, now I have to do 680 times 689 times 1.50. That's 1,333. You know, I don't want to do that fucking math on the top of my head when I'm trading real time. That's why I'd rather have even numbers like 2. So I know it's exactly 689 or 4. So it's double that. 689 times 2 is 1378, right? So I always do my risk management and derivatives of 2. So yeah, 2. Okay, yeah, you get that. And then when I set my stop loss, right? Let's just pretend I entered 4 contracts here for a buy. So now I'm buyed right here. Once wherever my line is for the blue, I'll drag my stop loss there, or I'll drag my entry there, and then I'll drag my stop loss to wherever I want it to be. And let's just say it's 524 ticks. So that means if I'm trading 2 contracts, I'm risking that amount. And how I set my stop loss is I just use my cursor on my mouse. I find that level down here, which is right here, right here. I'll press the plus button, and then I'm going to do sell for stop. So when you're long, you want to sell for as a stop order. That means my stop loss is down there, right? And then let's just say I have a level, whatever, over here. Let's just pretend this was like a previous day high level, and I want to take profit right here. I'll have my plus button again. I'll drag my cursor to my plus button, and I'll do sell for limit. Sell for limit. Meaning once price reaches this, my sell limit will get filled, and I'll exit my long positions here, and I'll be all done, right? And it's a sell stop. That means it's a stop loss, right? That's when you're longing though. When you're shorting, it's a little bit different. Here, I'll show you what short looks like. Cancel order, close position, close. Let's just say I want to short here, right? And my stop loss is up here, and my take profit is down here. And I want to sell, market, sell. So I'm automatically entered there. If I want to do a stop loss, same thing. I'll drag my cursor to the end of the gray area, press the plus button, and I'll do buy for stop. So when we were long, it was a sell stop, but now it's a buy stop because we're short. So I'll press buy for stop, and then my take profit is going to be a buy limit. I believe down here, yeah. Buy for limit. Buy for limit. So when price reaches down here, it'll reach my buy limit. Same thing. Buy limit is just basically you counter entering your short position. So you sold for, now you're buying for, right? And same thing when you're buying, when you're longing, you're selling for to counteract your position, and you make that profit, right? So yeah, always think of buy, sell, stop as your stop loss, and the limit is, think of it as take profit, right? Okay, that's for market order. Let's just say you want a limit order, which is not part of my strategy, but I'll just show you just in case you were curious. Limit order, let's just say that you had a price level in mind where once it hits that, you want to automatically get filled, right? So in this case, imagine that we're bullish, right? Let's just say we're bullish down here, and let's just say you have a key level right here that you are waiting for price to get down into. So price is currently still trading down, but let's just say you want to get filled at this certain level without marketing order in. What you would do is you press the plus button, and then you would do buy for limit. Buy for limit, meaning you have a buy limit there to execute, and then you would do right here, same thing, right? Sell stop. Sell stop, and take profit would be a sell limit, right? This is when you want an order just on the chart, and then once it goes down, you'll get filled. So hopefully it shows, but No, it doesn't. Yeah, okay, right there. See? You see you traded down into, and then I got filled right there. So now we're currently in a trade. All right, and then if it goes up all the way to my sell limit, then I believe I will. Yeah, there you go. See, I got stopped out. And or I take profit right there. Simple. Yeah, you guys can replay that if you ever lost, but that's exactly how I'm entering positions. Usually I'm just market ordering in. I never really press limits order. I just market order in. Other than that, yeah, that's exactly how I execute. Again, the risk management I always do is when I'm trading MNQ, this number right here, this number on my buy and sell limit is how I calculate my risk. I look at this number, which is 221, right? If I'm long, 221 or $221 is going to be the amount I lose if I do 2 contracts, right? The minimum I always do is 2, and if I want to risk more, then I'll do 4, which is 221 times 2, and so on and so forth, times 3. If it's 6 contracts, then it's 3. So 221 times 3 times 221 would be what? 221 times 3. I would be risking $663 if I'm in 6 contracts down here. And then based on how you want to do your risk management or whatever the chart shows, you can calculate it that way. But yeah, I always think it's easiest to do 2 because it's the whole number. Other than that, yeah, that's how I execute basically. Yeah, I already went over this, the drawing, snap on, fair value gap. Yeah, that's it. If you guys have any other questions, just text me or whatever, and then I'll try to help whatever I can. All right, let's.